Welcome everybody. Let's just check and see what the settings is. Okay, that's better. We're on here now. I've started to learn a little bit more about how to set the microphone. It automatically goes to the computer's microphone, so I have to sometimes switch it onto this Rode microphone. Hope you're all doing fine. I hope you feel a little bit better than yesterday night when we did the healing session. I hope you felt something. If not, then keep going, because it's like any healer will explain, sometimes the walls that we put up sometimes can take a little bit of effort, knocking them down, dissipating them, making them turn into dust. All the trauma that you've been through childhood, from the moment that you were pulled out of the womb, before that even, it could be your parents have been through a terrible situation together of struggle, of pain and suffering, which whatever you feel as a mum and whatever you feel as a dad, the energy goes into the child. So yeah, it's everything that you eat as a pregnant mother goes into your child. So everything that you feel goes into the child. It's the building blocks. It's the right to the electrical cells, So sometimes, healers get an awful big head. I've seen it. Some of our practitioners have been really gutted to watch the ego grow. And, it's true what they say, when you have a little bit of power, you really truly understand what somebody's like. It's just like if you have a little bit of money, you start to see what the person's like. It's not the money what's evil. It's how you behave with it. And the same with power. That's why most, like within the healing community, I would say 90, 98, 97% people who are healers genuinely want to help. But then again, it's still the ego is still there. And sometimes people get carried away with their ego because they thought that they've healed somebody. Nobody heals anybody. All we do is share energy, and that energy sometimes can dissipate, can break away. Sorry, guys. A lot of messages today. A lot of don't get me wrong, I love it. I love the messages that are coming in. It's all about wanting to become pure energy healers at the moment. So that's great. We've got a lot of people wanting to become a healer at the moment, which is fantastic for you. It's a life-changing experience, and it's something that I guess is the tools that help you along your journey. But yeah, going back to this, the ego thing, I've witnessed healers become mightier than thou, looking down on their clients and looking down on anybody else. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, because any true healer knows that energy that flows through you is not you. It belongs to the great universe, God, whatever source you want to call it. And that is free for all. So all it means is that you have to learn ancient techniques or ways of attuning into that ancient knowledge or that wisdom that's always around us to be able to heal somebody. And sometimes you can heal somebody without even realizing. And as one teacher once told me, that's the greatest healer of all. That's the greatest gift of all, not knowing that you're healing somebody and you're healing them. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, but you've got to know what you're doing if you're a healer. You know, not necessarily. I know mums and dads and children who are the best healers in the world. You can see it by exchange of energy. And yes, sometimes it does come from their own energy field, their own heart, but sometimes they can channel energy without even realizing. So I have no time for even pure energy healers. If they turn into that kind of monster, I'm sorry to say, it takes over them, and they become, it's just awful to see. It's heartbreaking to see. And thankfully we have, so many good healers who come from the heart, so many good souls that do this from their heart. They do it from, a beautiful place. And a lot of them struggle like I did. I struggled for many years, struggled to make ends meet, but didn't matter. Wasn't important. What was important is that your client gets up and feels better and walks out of the door. So when I do these one-offs, when I'm wanting to share healing with you, I do it because of love. That's it. No other reason. Just pure love. Just wanting to, and if I'm doing it, it means I'm strong. It means I'm healthy, because I wouldn't do it otherwise. But on a note of great healers, let me introduce you to a great healer now. Nobody can touch this girl for healing. She's the greatest healer of all. Say hello, Lily. Say hello in there. She's just had her hair done. She's a bit miffed. She likes to be a campo girl, but Mum likes to dress her up like this to look pom-pom beautiful. Give me a kiss. She's a good girl. Look at that beautiful haircut. Fresh haircut. Smell lovely, don't you? A bit too much chemical smell, but anyway, it's okay. My beautiful girl, my pumpkin. Best healer in the world, eh? Best healer in the world. When I get down now. Okay, but I'm sorry to disturb you. Sorry, Bubbles. She's a good girl. She's a great girl. So, yeah, I got so many people calling as well at the moment. We should have answered them calls first. Anyway, it is what it is. We had a leak in the... She has her own seat over there. She's such a queen. No wonder she's called Princess Lily. Hey, what a life. And I have to be home at 6 o'clock on the dot to feed her. And she has vegetables, oregano, pumpkin seeds, depending. She might have organic meats sometimes, but lately we've been speaking to quite a few people who feed their pets on just fruit and vegetables, and they are so healthy. So healthy. So it's like I've always said, well, a dog has teeth and they bite up and down, not like us. We chew like this, which means we're meant to eat fruits and plants like all herbivores. Somebody's birthday outside. They're singing cumpleaños feliz. So yeah, she's a good girl. Anyway, what are we talking about today? Shut up, Mark. All over the place today, aren't you? Today we're going to talk about mass hypnosis. So it says here, it's really interesting actually when you look at it. If you type into a search engine mass hypnosis, you get this, they call it a disorder. Yeah, they would, wouldn't they? Because they don't want to call it dark energy or the entity within or the soul that's within. They call it disorder, epidemic, hysteria, they call it, or mass hysteria. Involves the spread of illness symptoms through a population, can you imagine, where there is no infectious agent responsible for contagion. So basically, they don't know what it is, but they're saying, by the looks of it, that it's possibly an illness or something that, is kind of like an infection, but we can't see it and we don't know it and we don't know how to, we can't make an injection for it, and we can't contain it. They'll say everything but the truth. They'll say everything but what the real truth is, and that is anger is infectious. And why is it infectious? Is it a frequency? Is it a frequency? Or could it be that we are actually surrounded by the yin and yang, the good and bad, light and dark, forces of darkness that jump onto you as soon as you start to get angry? And the feeling of being next to somebody who's angry, you become angry, just like the feeling that you're next to somebody and she's on a period and you're a woman and all of a sudden you're on your period. Why is that? What kind of terrain is that? Okay, so think about it. So they're trying to sway you. They're trying to blind you and push you away from the truth and say, oh, well, it is something, but we can't figure it out and we don't really know how to contain it. And it's kind of like a virus. It's kind of like a, something, but they're never going to tell you what it is. There are many people in my life and myself that have experienced something that has taken over us. And it often comes when we're doing drugs, whether it be recreational drugs, whether it be drugs from the pharmaceutical, same. They just patent it lovely so they can make a fortune on it, and they can just give it you and say, oh yeah, this is all right, but that's not all right. Don't take that. That's illegal, but you can take this because we're charging you for it. Oh yeah, of course there's lots of damage you're going to have with these drugs. I mean, just look at the side effects, but it's okay because we say it's legal. So we write in a piece of paper saying that's legal because the mafia is the mafia and they are the biggest mafia of all. So they're going to fool people by making you believe that, yeah, just because there's 54 side effects. No, they're not side effects. That's the cause, not side effect. Yeah, but shut up. We just say it's a side effect because it sounds better. Yeah, because you manipulate words, you scumbags. That's what you are. And now what once was, let's say, a hint of really trying to help people through science and through doctrine and all of the medicines, it's now become business. They don't care. Johnson, they don't care. Just get that baby powder on. Yeah, but it's dangerous. Yeah, we don't care. Yeah, but just take that tablet there. Yeah, but it really affects them and they're going to be hooked onto this. Who gives a shit? Who cares about them? They don't care. But then what they do is, very cleverly, they hunt for people like me and they look at our oils and then they'll say, oh, you naughty boy, that you shouldn't. And if somebody says, oh, your oil, it kind of caused my skin a little bit. Then they'll jump onto somebody like me and then make an example of me, which then takes away the real truth about what they are. See, they're just absolute demonic energies that have taken over everything. And this is what makes my blood boil at times. And, people don't see it. And that's the mass hypnosis, blinded by what they believe is law. I want to do good. I want to be, oh, silly man. Shut up, Mr. Bajerski. You're just a silly man playing with oils. We don't listen to you. We listen to the science. Yes. See where that got you. Yeah. You keep taking them jabs, pal, and you keep telling yourself what you believe because that's mass hypnosis. That's what mass hypnosis is. So when we look at people all coming together in crowds, that's always fascinated me. Whether it be football, when they're going to the crowd of football, or whether it's the circus, whether it's 50 years ago or 300, 400, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, them circuses existed to control the masses, so they wouldn't get up and realize that they're being stuffed. So they would give them a little bit of something, to keep them going. Here's your dole check, shut your mouth and bog off. That's as much as you're going to get. It's the same as feeding them bread, basically. And then they give you all the circuses of all the famous people who are in the arena, whether you call it football, games. That's why, you've ever asked yourself why they're grossly overpaid? Because they're needed. They're so needed. just like all famous stars, whether they're singers, whether they're actors, they all get paid amounts that just don't make any sense. But if you are part of the very satanic Hollywood, you realize that they have to pay them this kind of money to keep them high in that energy, so people look up to them. And it's just a way of, oh, look, they got paid 16 million for a film. They get paid 16 million for a film. That doesn't make any sense. Why would they get paid 16 million? They get paid 16 million not because of box office numbers, is because it's a circus and they have to keep feeding the fighters, the best fighters, give them the best, give them everything that they need, right? Because we keep that bread and circus going. So it's fascinating when we look at it and we stand back from it and realize it's all mass hypnosis, all of it, every day. And 99% of humanity is hypnotized by it. I mean, I know, I've got friends who love football, and, I used to like playing football, but it's not about whether I'm pointing a finger if you watch football, because there's people who watch football and know what's going on completely. But I'm talking about those who just generally just eat, drink, sleep, and work, and that's it. They're the ones that just don't do anything and follow the rules and are basically manipulated so easy. So, they've got to get it out of the system, right? They've got to lose it out of the system. It's got to come out of the system. And all along, you've got this yin and yang, this light and dark. And more so now, we're finding that there are entities that are attaching more to people all the time. And people are getting aggressive much quicker now. And I kind of see it this way. I've spent many times in circles and spent many times in, let's say, talks in 20 years, and seen people go from light to dark. And it's normally when they're angry at something, and I'm like, wow, something's attached to that person. They're not the same as they were an hour ago. So, the way, I guess, science and the way darkness, the way the manipulators know what it is, but they need to figure out a way so you don't know what it is. Because if you don't know the root cause to anything, it'll always stay the same. That's why not many people talk the way I do. I'm sure there's a few out there, but if you can say to them, oh yeah, they've got split personality, or, oh, there's something wrong with them. They all of a sudden change, so it's something wrong with it. Well, what is it? Yeah, there's something wrong up here. It's a mental thing. And there you go. You've just sectioned them, or you've just labeled them. Whereas could it be that soul that was watching a football match that now gets angry because somebody else has scored a goal against them? Now they're getting angry, and then all of a sudden you've got a swarm of certain energies that will attach to you and feed from you. That's what they're looking for. They're around us all the time, and there's more and more and more. And that's why we have to protect ourselves. Like I said to you before, guys, if you've ever heard me say this, I have kind of like a panic attack sometimes when there's crowds, because I know how easy it is for darkness to manipulate them. And when we say that anger is infectious, what I mean by that is it's not an infection. It's basically an energy that attaches to all of them. And it's almost like you've got 1,000 tadpoles just swimming towards them. But let's say they're not tadpoles, there's something out of Harry Potter, and they come straight down and attach to you. And then you get angry. Then you are feeding those entities. And that's why, when they sit them down after and that entity maybe have disappeared and gone from them, they normally say, I don't know what happened. I don't know why I did that. If they went home to the mum and the mum said, did you just get arrested? Did I just see you on telly? What? I've never seen you like that before. I don't know what. I don't know, ma. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why. That's right. You don't know why, because you've been attached, something attached to you, and it influences you. It makes you do stuff. So if you're weak, if you're a weak soul and you have no understanding about anything because you're never told this ever. I mean, if you were born in the days of the shaman days, the Native American days, the days where that's all being killed deliberately, you would be warned about these things. You would understand these things. that they are always there and they can possess us in a sense. They can take over us if we're weak, if we're not well, if we're sick, if we're drink. I mean, look what happened to the Native Americans. Look how much alcohol they drunk, and their spirituality just is gone. It's disappeared. It's no longer. And the fathers of them, look, what must they have gone through, and what are we going through to this day? We try and bring our children up with love and respect, and then you've got this dark energy feeding through politicians and these monsters that are in control, who are trying to change our children, take them off us, make them think satanic, make them think evil, make them think lost, make them think whatever, in a way to, like I said, some healers can lose the plot and go doolally because they think they're almost like a god, and they become like doctors. They get this God complex. Healers get it too. Psychics get it a lot. Healers, honestly. But you can't just say, oh, all healers are like that, all psychics are like that, all doctors are like that. No, it just depends on how you are with energy. It depends how you are with, let's say, a little bit of popularity. Let's say that you become a good healer and you're learning it well. Now, people are saying nice things about you. How do you deal with that? So in the Pure Energy Healing Academy, it breaks my heart whenever I see somebody who starts to lose the plot and go a little bit insane with negative energy, and they think that they're powerful, and they're actually getting more negative and more dark, and they think they're getting more powerful, and it breaks my heart to watch. And it's not up to me to say anything, but I've seen this a few times, and I've seen it in a lot of healers, not just pure energy healers, Reiki Reiki masters. That's just enough. That in itself breaks my heart. As soon as you're a master, you're not a master. You're a student, and you'll be a student till the day you die. Because the more you learn about healing, the more you realize you don't know. So. But people love this idea of being a master, It was put to me a while ago. I'm thinking, yeah, it kind of makes sense, spending 10,000 hours on one thing, then you become a master at it. I get it, really, but I don't like it. If somebody said to me, oh, Master Mark, I'd cringe, and I'd want to swear at them and say, don't you dare, because I know what you're invoking. I know what doors you're opening. Don't open them doors. I don't want them doors. So I put it back to people after a healing session. Like today, I've got, I don't know, maybe 50 messages saying, I feel really good and thank you so much. It's like, I always enter it back saying, it's you that did it. We had 200 people on last night, I think, something like that. Somebody said, I don't know, I didn't see, because I had my eyes closed, but, which was great, but not 200 people would have felt the healing. So, you did it. You embraced it. Like if I go to a shamanic evening, right, I'm sat there. It's up to me to take in what this guy's got. It's up to me, right? Whether he's crap or not, it's up to me to see what I can do, so he can start the circle, and he can start to prepare it, and he can start to drumbeat. He might start doing, his cleansings and using sticks or swords or whatever he's using. But it's up to me to embrace and utilize the energy around me, and to embrace it and to let it in and to work with it. So I love it. And if I didn't feel anything that night, I'm more disappointed in myself. I don't blame other people. I don't blame the shaman. It's whatever's going on in me. So when somebody heals themselves after a healing session, I always look at them and say, you should be proud of yourself. You did this. And not just that, we teach in the academy that there are steps that people go through, and there are paths that people walk on, and there are people that we meet along that journey that, yes, can hurt us, but there are many people that can heal us. And it could be a mum, it could be a sister, a brother, somebody you've never met before, and they'll heal us along that journey. And to a certain degree, that healing process could be a year, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years. But along that journey, one day something will happen, and you've healed yourself of something. And then a lot of people turn around to the person that they were with at that time of the healing, and they'd say, "Oh, you healed me." And as a healer, we know that's not. As a healer who can see energy knows that's not true at all. That's bullshit. And if you say I've healed you, it's bullshit. All I say that is I participated in the healing process, and I might have been the lucky one that just at that moment there were one more wall that needed knocking down for you to feel cleansed and cleared, right? So that keeps ego at bay. And also, we teach at the Pure Energy Healing Academy 4-day course online that when you kick them out of the door, you know that there's going to be other people who's going to help them along their journey as well. So it's an ongoing healing. Isn't something that you just go and see a healer. It's an ongoing process throughout the whole of your life. And who is a healer? I've just told you the most powerful healer that I've ever met in the world is sat right there with 4 legs and a funny looking haircut. And I've met a most powerful healer that never said a word. She barks. I met one of the most powerful healers that never moved, never touched me and said a word. I had to lean upon that healer to receive the healing. And that is a 500-year-old olive tree that I went to every night after I finished work, from working at Tickle Pink upstairs in a little room and walking all the way on here with my 2 schnauzers and sat by the tree and received so much healing by way of the tree. This is an agreement that happens, and I didn't know it happens. I said it in my book. I wrote it in my book. I remember just going to this tree and sitting by it. And I didn't really know much about trees, didn't think about them when I was healing. It wasn't really something. I saw a tree of life, but I didn't really understand what it means. So above, so below, and the roots are the same as life. I didn't really think about any of those things. I was just busy working as a healer. And, one day the phone rang and it was Inga, and she says, "How are you?" I said, "Bit exhausted today, to be honest. I won't be coming to Circle Night tonight. I'm exhausted. I've just done 8 healing sessions, and they were quite, profound healing sessions." "Oh, my dear, you need a tree." I'm like, "What do you mean I need a tree?" "You need a tree. Do you not know that shamans, when they become healers, they find a tree, and the tree agrees to absorb all their negative energy that the healer took from their clients to heal them. So the tree agrees to this. So you need to find a tree." And I said, "Well, you're not going to believe this. Every night I come and sit at the end of the road towards Belmadina, and there's an olive tree." And I said, "I'm actually sat on it now." She says, "Well, there you go then. You've got your tree." And it's true. Without even knowing, without even thinking that trees did anything. What did I know about trees back then, other than climbing them and eating their fruit, which was a natural thing? So that's really interesting. So yeah, going back to this this mass psychosis, this mass hypnosis, I believe wholeheartedly that those who jumped up to poison their body of alien man-made poisons, that I believe it's so much easier to infiltrate the human body then, and for your energy field to be disrupted completely, and you are open to a mass influx of let's say energies that shouldn't be in this world, that have been allowed to come in by DARPA, HARP, CERN, the military industrial complex. They've opened up, let's say, the energy field to our world that was protected, and now they're poisoning it. So it makes it so much easier for dark forces to enter into this world. And that's why people are finding it difficult now to sleep. They're finding themselves like if they're actually balanced in a day, or if they feel good in a day, that feels like this is the first time for a long time. They say most people say that they're never 100% anymore. They never feel like they used to feel before all of this started, before CERN started switching on its kaleidoscope. Yeah, whatever. You were deliberately changing the frequency. You were manipulating this beautiful world, and you were doing something which was so dark and demonic, deliberately to bring in entity into this world that should not have been able to come through the energy fields that we have. So these are the things we had enough problems with trapped souls in this world, those that didn't go home, and they are wandering this world everywhere, and they are low frequency and low vibration, and they can connect to us, attach to us by way of, pubs and nightclubs and, hospitals and prisons. That's where the energies hang around. That's where they are. But more so now that we're seeing more people are more sick. More people are walking around with poisons in their body. It used to be just alcohol or maybe cigarettes or, recreational drugs. Now everybody's a druggie. Everybody's being pumped with poisons in their body, which are absolutely low frequency, absolutely changing your energy field. That is metal that should not be in your body. It should not be there. The graphene oxide and all the other stuff that they've created to go into the heart and go into the head when they said it was meant to stay in the arm. It's all garbage, guys. It's all lies. They know exactly what they're planning and doing to create this world into a cesspit. And that's what it is. You can't say it's not. You can be as blind as you want and say it's a wonderful world, and that's fine until it's not a wonderful world. I have no issues with you believing it's a wonderful world and making it a wonderful world. But you can't deny that people are falling down on a football pitch. You can't deny that nurses and doctors were dancing while apparently everybody was dying, which it was mass hypnosis. It was giving them power. It's like giving a man power and saying you're a policeman now. You just see the change in them. See what happens to them. See what attaches to them and how they become crazy. Same with money. Give somebody some money and see they go crazy. They don't know how to handle it and go crazy. And then they lose themselves. So I guess, this idea of Mark Bajerski, teaching and sharing wisdom of finding balance, walk the walk, talk the talk. Well, I never had nothing. I struggled for absolutely years. I had 5 businesses, but struggled, and all I ever did was pay the staff. I've told you before, I had a hairdressing salon. I wouldn't let my students clean the toilets. I'd clean them. I wouldn't let any staff. I'd do it all, but they work for you, Mark. Yeah, they might work for me, but they're not slaves. And I appreciate anybody who works for my company. I appreciate them with all my heart. With all my heart, they're angels to me. So you can see the difference between people when they get a little bit of power in their head. They get authority energy, and now you can see they're going crazy. These people. That's not nice. And then you can argue the fact, well, maybe they were never nice. Maybe their true consciousness starts to kick in when this happens, or maybe not. Maybe they're just weak and now they're being taken over by entity, by manipulation, and by money and greed. So checking yourself over every day, checking yourself and asking yourself, how are you doing? What's going on? What's your thoughts? How do you behave around people? Just to question yourself and look in the mirror is a wonderful thing to do. Really is a wonderful thing to do. And never let things get to you. Never get upset too much about things, because now I've spoken, then surely you should think to yourself, if I start getting upset, really sad and really depressed, then you are opening the doorway to negative energy that will feed from you and it won't want you to stop. And that's why a lot of people say I started having bad thoughts, and then entity comes, attaches to you. Wow, we've got one. And then starts to feed from you, and then encourages you to think worse and worse and bad and hate them, and that they're the problem of my life, and or I'm depressed and everything's going wrong, and whoop, attached. Now all of a sudden it's feed from you. Yeah, you are. Everything's going wrong. It's terrible. It's the worst thing. What, you can never fix this. It's always going to be this bad. This is what attachments do. How do I know that? I know this because when you're healing somebody, you can see that there's nothing wrong with the client. You look at them and think there's nothing wrong with you. And then when you start the work, you can feel that there's something happening within your body that makes no sense. This isn't normal behavior when the healing begins. And you can put a crystal on it too, and you can see that the client starts to move a lot, or twitch, or start to, fight a little bit, and like they're uncomfortable, and things aren't going, and like somebody's having, there's two people here, or there's three, or there's four, and there's a fight going on here. And for years, I used to say it's just bad energy. They're just fighting bad energy. But I knew deep down that bad energy was something that didn't belong to you. I know the difference between healing somebody who hasn't attachments and they've got, let's say, low self-esteem, no self-worth. It's different energy. And that energy normally comes by way of you work on their head, and then after you've finished clearing the head of those thoughts, which are continuous, but if you heal them, that stops. Something stops for a while. And then you go to the heart, you normally find tears come then. So there was a beautiful pattern of, okay, this person just was the worst person for themselves because of their childhood, because of what their mum didn't say, their dad didn't say. I remember working on one beautiful girl. She was gorgeous. She was lovely. She never even saw herself as lovely. She actually believed she was ugly. And a boyfriend, when I've met a boyfriend, I was like, wow, he's a good looking guy, really good looking guy. And he wants to marry her. And she didn't want to get married, and because she didn't think she was good enough for him. And she basically, she was killing herself every day. And I would give her healing sessions once every month or so. And she'd be really strong when she left. And then she'd start again with her thoughts. And I used to say to her, it's important that you look at your childhood and realize that your childhood and how your mum treated you, in particular, how your mum would ignore you and say nasty things because she was in a bad place, that it wasn't you, and she needed to deal with that. But she couldn't come to terms with dealing with her mum. And it was a struggle for her. She tried to block it out, but you can't block things out. You've got to figure it out. And she really thought she was ugly. It didn't matter if I put a mirror in it and said, you're a really beautiful looking girl. I mean, you're really beautiful, right? She didn't say it. She just saw ugly. So you've got to understand that, being a mother and father, you can really hurt your child if you don't give them confidence and don't tell them they're beautiful. And, I'd rather see, somebody filled with confidence, no matter how they looked, and they were happy and joyful in themselves, because there's always somebody for somebody. Always. I've seen people together who were so joyful and like, I remember one lady who said, oh, I'm never going to meet anybody. She was in her 50s. I knew somebody who was 80 something. And oh, Mark, she was so joyful and like filled with life. And I'm like, wow, do you think you're going to, I never said it, but I used to think to myself, wow, she really thinks she's going to meet somebody. She's 80 years old. She's filled with joy. She's filled with like, she's, oh yeah, of course, I'm definitely going to meet somebody and get married. And I'm like, gosh, my programming, is that correct? And she came back and she showed me a wedding ring. She was married. She got married to a beautiful man. It's incredible when you get to read and heal so many people to realize that we are the destroyers of our own life. So surely what we put inside our body, surely what we put inside our mind is vital So do I believe I'm beautiful? I bloody do. Do I believe I'm handsome? Yeah, I do. Because I'm not doing that no more. I'm not saying no, I'm ugly. No, I've got a big nose. I'm not doing that no more. I did that for long enough. That doesn't work. It doesn't help. So I'm beautiful, and whoever's lucky enough to be with me is the luckiest person in the world. And that's the same goes with you. That's what you need to tell yourself, because I ask you this: are you faithful? Yeah. Do you know how many faithful people are out in this world? Not many. So whoever's lucky enough to be with you is the luckiest person in the world, because you give your heart, your soul to them, and you will be kind and caring to them, and you will love them. So they're damn lucky to be with you. We need to change the chip a little bit. So going back to this, what frightens me is 2 people frighten me, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people. That frightens me, because I know that how easy it is for entity to attach to people in groups. So, and to clarify that is, did you ever have a friend at school that you played with on a singular level, 1-to-1, but then when they were with 4 or 5 other friends, they'd treat you bad? They wouldn't be the same person anymore. Wonder why that is. You see, you've got to think about these things a little bit. So on a 1-to-1 level, you've got what you've got there, and you're in their energy, you're in their energy. It makes sense. So nothing bad's going to happen. But as soon as you've got more energies about, and you don't know what you're dealing with there, and who's attached to who, what's going on. You can actually be with one person and know that they're an energy drainer, but it might not be them. It might be the energy that's attached to them. So they might be a lovely person, but they just drain you because they've got attachment. So you have to protect yourself. You have to take care of yourself. And that's why I talk about Morsitsit. I talk about Moldavite and quite a few other crystals that protect, send an energy wave that will stop entity attaching to you. But ultimately, you've got to be aware of it. And as soon as you sat with somebody who starts to steal your energy, you just got to say, oh, Jesus Christ, I've got an appointment. I forgot. I've just missed my appointment. I've got to go. I'll see you in a bit. Have a great day. See you later. And get yourself off. You know, the ones that you can never, ever stop them talking. Right? Because they always come on to something else, because they're draining you. They don't want you to go, because they're feeding from you. And they don't know it, but the attachment or entity or whatever that energy is feeding from you. That's why your heart's going, you can't breathe properly, and you just want to go, and you're waiting for an opportunity for them to stop talking. They won't, because the entity knows this, and it's feeding from you. So it's basically, they become a host for the entity. And it's funny, there's a film that's just come out on Netflix, and it's about a child being possessed. And that, you know, just remember, Netflix is a precursor of what's happening and what's coming. And I've said this before, guys, as soon as the needle came to everybody, more and more people are going to get attachments. And that's why more and more people are going to do crazy things. And they've pre-brought that out to show you and to make people think that, you know, just as they did do Contagion. Do you remember Contagion with all the famous actors? I wonder what they're thinking now. You were the one that brought this forward. You were the one that opened it up for the satanic world to, you know, pre-program, to telegram everybody. Just watch Contagion. Watch the film again, and it'll blow you away. It was all planned, guys. That was done in what, 2011? And Contagion was about a virus. Right at the very end, watch it. It shows you a bat. Right at the end, a bat is eating something, drops it on the floor. A pig comes along, eats it. The pig gets taken away to China. Oh, yeah. And they make sure that they showed you the markets. They showed you a market of fish and a market of poultry. Right, but at the end they showed you the bat. Everything, guys, everything is in that film. It was. They were telling us what they were about to do. Everything in that film was exactly what happened. Exactly. Now, how could that be so convenient. How could that be so Simpsons? How can Simpsons know everything? Because the darkness runs the world and it has to get it out there, whether you believe they get it out there as fun, just a joke because they love it. They get it out there because you're creating the very thing that they want to create by watching it and believing it, and thus the universe creates it. Very, very, very possibly. That's why we say if you think of things, you can manifest them. So if you're watching a scary movie, you can manifest it. And if you've got every single Matt Damon in there, Jude Law, you've got like Samuel Fishburne, whatever he's called. You've got just about everybody in that film, everybody famous in that film. Why would you get everybody famous? Because they wanted everybody to watch it. That's why. They wanted everybody to watch it. So go back and watch that film. It'll blow you away because it's exactly what they did. And Jude Law was the one that was saying, oh, I've got this thing which is cheap and anybody can take it and you can cure yourself, but everybody's dying and they're waiting for a vaccine. I mean, come on. You can't make this stuff up unless you make it up, unless you knew this is the plan, this is what we were going to do. And they rolled it out perfectly. So then I say that there's a new film come out on Netflix and now it's all about possession of children. And, you know, more and more kids are being possessed. They're being taken over. They believe they're not who they are. And I'm sure entity can come along and certainly change us from thinking that we are a man or a woman. And I'm sure, you know, why is it that so many children who grow up to be adults and then take their lives because they realize that they're no longer what they thought they were when they were younger? And I'm not saying that everybody is all labeled as the same. But I do believe that there's madness coming into this world, more and more madness. And madness to me is insanity, and insanity is darkness, and darkness is manipulation. It is everything that wants to change the good, the God, the kindness, the love, the connection that's within us so that we know who we are. The biggest two things that were ever said on this planet as a healer who connects to our spirit world is, why am I here and who am I? That has been lost to this day. It's no longer who am I, because people are just choosing to make up what they want to be rather than really find out who they truly are inside. So I say that the needle, the black screen, is sending people crazy by way of disconnecting the consciousness and by living in an absolute dystopia with the frequencies that are being manipulated constantly, not only through the black screen and the computer and the TV, but also outside through the smart cities, smart grid, through Mr. Savior of the world, Elon Musk's satellites, which are beaming down frequencies that are changing us. Whether he knows this or not, doesn't matter. We know it. We can feel it. I did see something interesting the other day where a guy took a meter reading of it's an electrical thing. So what you do is you stick one like metal thing into one, I guess, a plug, and one into the other, and see if there's any charge. So he did the same thing with fruit and found that there is an electrical charge in fruit, which doesn't surprise me at all because we are electric and that's why we should eat fruit and vegetables. And he stuck the same two forks into a burger and there was no electrical charge because it's dead. So these are truths. So we should eat fruit and vegetables which are alive, and they stay alive for a long, long time. The life force is stronger the sooner you eat it, but it's still inside the fruit, even after weeks. So that's fascinating as well. So there you go. That's my little chat today. Well, I'm wishing you all a lovely day. 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock. Any questions before Marky Mark heads off? I was going to upload some crystals, but I think I'd like to go back home because I got a leak in the casita that needs to be resolved. So I have to go, I guess. Well, I'm wishing you all a lovely day. Thanks for joining me. And yeah, that's it really. Nothing else to say apart from thanks for joining me. Have a lovely day. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.